Alright, hi. Washington Association of Building Officials, Wabo, standard number 2713, 5th edition. Wabo and welder operator performance qualification standards for structural steel, sheet steel, reinforcement steel, seismic restricted access, effective July 2008. The 5th edition of Welder Performance Qualification Standard number 2713 updates and replaces the previous edition, for the standard reflects the applicable requirements and intent of the most recent editions of the Washington State Building Code, Structural Welding Code, Steel, ANSI, AWS D11, Structural Welding Code, Seismic Supplement, NSI, AWS D18, Structural Welding Code, Sheet Steel, ANS, AWS D13, and Structural Welding Code, Reinforcement Steel, ANSI, AWS D14. The standard has been compiled with the joint efforts of the members of Washington Association Building Officials, members of American Welding Society. The standard has been published as follows: first edition 1980, second edition May 1982, third edition May 1989, fourth edition October 2002, fifth edition July 2008. Washington Association Building Officials, P.O. Box 7310, Olympia, Washington 9850773103600 360-586-6725, toll free 888-649515, fax 360-586-5538, email wabo at wabo.org, webpage www.wabo.org. Preface. Washington Association Building Officials is a nonprofit corporation established to research, development, and promote a uniform implementation, enforcement, building codes in state Washington. The association membership includes building officials from jurisdiction at all levels, state, county, city, and town, who are responsible for administrating and enforcing building codes. Building codes adopted by the state of Washington include requirements, qualifications, welders to provide great confidence and compliance with these requirements. WABU Standards 2713 establishes most uniform qualification testing procedure, certification welders, welder operators, and tackers. Alright, table of contents, forward, preface, table of contents, purpose, scope, qualifying agency requirements, welder certification, welder qualification requirements, welding qualification test required, limitation, visual inspection criteria for acceptance, test specimen, root, face, side bend, methods of testing specimens, techniques, inquiries, challenges, appeals, suspension, withdrawals, appendices, list of figures, tables of terms, definition, sample welding procedure, specification. The purpose of the standard to provide greater confidence for the design professional owner of the building officials that welders, welding operators, tackers are qualified to perform work which they have been certified for the building construction. Certification personnel in accordance with the standards is intended to promote the overall welding quality assurance program. Other components of the welding quality assurance may not be limited to the following: approved construction documentation, contractor quality control, approved welding procedure, welding qualification not covered by the standard, material testing, building department inspection, special inspection, structural observation. Qualifying tests described in the standard are not intended to be used with the guide of the welding during actual construction. Certification personnel in accordance with this standard shall not be used as a substitute for other requirements of welding quality assurance. Section 2713.2 Scope. This provision of the standard shall apply with the qualification and certification of welders, welding operators, hackers performing structural steel, sheet steel, reinforcing steel welding. These limitations of the welder operator qualifications are found in Table 2, 2713 and 1. Section 2713.3 Welding Qualification Agency Requirements General. The WABU approved the welder qualifying agencies are authorized to perform the welding operating performance qualification test required by the standard WABU approved facility. Welder qualification agencies interested in becoming a certified WABU to perform the test may be other application forms and information concerning certification by contacting the WABU office or visiting the WABU website, wabo.org. 2. Eligibility. The following organizations are eligible to become WABU welder qualifying agencies: independent testing laboratories, private public welder vocational training institutions, including the operating labor union, steel fabricator plans certified with the AISC qualification certification programs, other grants approved with the WABU Washington Association Building Officials. Inspection evaluation. Inspection evaluation of the welder qualification agency will be performed one or more persons selected at WABU who are knowledgeable in the welding welder qualifications. These agencies require the technical survey and testing facility method of the required record keeping. 4. Certification welder qualifying agency. The recommendation certification inspection evaluation team Wabo is issued with a certificate identifying the agency key personnel with the agency certificate will be valid for a 3-year period subject to periodic reinspection of the agency. Agents personnel witness the test improving the mechanical and visual testing coupons must be the Wabo certified welding examiners. The agency personnel came with Wabo certified welding examiner submitting proof that the AWW, the American Welding Society certified welder inspector qualified with the certified in accordance with the provision of the American Welding Society QCI and standard qualification and certification welding inspector of successfully completing the Wabo written welder exam and her test based on the competence of the standard personal performance radiographic testing will be qualified in accordance with the current edition of the American Society non-destructive test recommended press just number SNTTC1A only with individuals qualified with the NDT non-destructive testing level 2 may perform interpret radiographic testing. Welders and welder operators must be certified by the Wabo in one or more of the following categories: process satisfactory completion, applicable qualification testing described in the standard following the welder certification classification available through the Wabo welder certification program. 1. Structural welder processes: shield model arc welding, SMA method manual, gas tungsten arc welding, GTAW manual, gas metal arc core welding, GMAW semi-automatic, flux core arc welding, FCAW semi-automatics. 2. Sheet steel welder process: sheet metal arc welding, SMAW manual, gas tungsten arc welding manual, gas metal arc welding, GMA semi-automatic, flux core arc welding semi-automatic. 3. Welder operated process: submerged arc welding, SAW automatic, reinforcing steel welder process: shield metal arc welding, SMAW manual, gas metal arc welding semi-automatic, and flux core arc welding semi-automatic. Semi-restricted access welder prerequisites: Wabo certification for the field of structural welder process: shield metal arc welding, SMAW manual method, flux core arc welding, FCAW semi-automatic. Welder certificates. Welder certificates are issued for a period of 1 year. For the certification remain valid, the welder must have the certificate endorsed on his or her supervisor designee or Wabo certified welding examiner. The endorser shall witness an individual welding during the calendar quarter of being endorsed. To renew the certificate, the welder must return the certification card properly endorsed signature from the Wabo to pay the renewal fee. The qualification of the welder operator shall remain in effect indefinitely unless the welder and welder operator is not engaged in the welder process for which he or she is qualified for the preceding 6 months in which the new certification testing shall be required. 6.3.2. There's some of the specific reason for the question of the welder operator's ability, in which case the new qualification testing may be required. In the event of the welder operator fails to pass the new qualification test, certification shall be suspended until he or she can successfully complete the welding test. The welder through 6.3.3. The welder fails to renew his or her certification on before the expiration date. Exemption: the expiration certification may be reinstated within 60 days after the expiration date. Thereafter, the new qualification testing shall be required. Certification systematic restricted access welder should remain valid for 36 months, provided with the quantity requirements of the process as outlined above. After 36 months, new qualification test is required. 6.4. Welding certification revocation. Each certification card carries a statement that card is properly Wabo, which entitles all possessional rights to Wabo, thereby extending the authority beyond the officer's executive board and program managers to representative acting on the behalf of the Wabo ID, i.e. building officials, inspectors, examiners, other confiscated with any certification card for the probable cause. Confiscated certification cards must be forwarded to the Wabo office, accompanied a written explanation of the circumstances within 5 working days of the infraction date. Any certification issued by the Washington Association building official for the certification registration programs presented with the qualification of an individual other than certification for any of the reason will deem any and all Washington Association building official certificates held by the certificate holder revoked for the period of not less than 3 years from the date of infraction. The person presenting another certificate for any reason will also automatically have any and all Wabo certifications revoked for a period of not less than 3 years from the date of infraction. If the person presenting another individual certificate is currently certified with the Wabo, the person will be prohibited of obtaining Wabo certification for a period not less than 3 years from the date of infraction. Altered certificates other than approved currently on file with the Wabo carry the same 3-year revocation provisions. Section 2713.5. Welder qualification general requirements. Knowledge and ability to work performance. Each of the welder operators should perform one or more of the test welds on prepared test coupons in accordance with the following. Welding machine shall be set at zero minimum setting prior to the welder operator adjusting the machine. Prior welding, each test method weldment shall be identified by placing the welder operator identification marker, laboratory test number on the test weldment, and of each of the process position. Each of the specimen removed from the test weldment should be stamped with the laboratory test number and the specimen number. Testing weldments may not be removed from position during the test. Cleaning and removing slag undercut in excess of the bead or convexity between the pass and acceptable if made in position with approval of the welder examiner. Grinding off the root and cover the pass is not permitted. Records. A complete record should be made with the tests performed with each of the welder and welder operator with the results of those tests. Original copies should be forwarded to the welder examiner to the Wabo office in 30 days together with the application filing fee. A copy of each of the records shall be kept in the welder examiner qualification agency for a period of 3 years. Then the test specimen and radiographic specimen shall be retained by the welder examiner, the qualifying agency, for a period of 6 months. Copies of radiograph reports shall be forwarded to the Wabo office. The original record of the original copies of the test shall be kept with the current welders at the Wabo office indefinitely. Certificates shall be issued by the Wabo office. A roster of current certified welding operators should be kept at the Wabo office. The record specimens available to those authorized by the Wabo to examine them. Visible specimens, bend specimens shall be maintained securely, fastened together with identification stamping of the clear visible. Section 2732.6, Welder Qualification Test. Qualification test for the structural welder. Welder qualification test manual semi-automatic welding shall be one of the following: groove weld test by plate, unlimited thickness; groove weld test by butt joints on pipe and square and rectangular tubing, unlimited thickness; groove weld test TK and Y connections for the pipe and tubing, unlimited thickness. 2. Qualification for testing sheet weld. Steel welder, see figure 27130907. The welder qualification testing sheet, steel welding on the fillet weld T-joint set test sheet to the supporting member. Qualification testing the welding operator, see figure 27130998. The welding qualification tester shall be grooved the welded test on plate. 4. The qualification testing reinforcement steel welders. The welder qualification testing reinforcing steel welders shall be flare bevel, groove, indirect butt joint. 5. Qualification and testing seismic restricted access welder. General, this test is used to qualify the welders for flat position groove welding, gouging and back gouging as part of the test, and steel packing of this used with the regard wired to remove. If this used to qualify the welders non-steel backing, used to open the root with the groove welds are used. Test plate configuration dimensions shall be shown in figure 2713.14.1, figure 2713.14.2, and figures 2713.14.3 as applicable. 5.3 Test plate fabrication general requirements. Test plate assembly. The parts of the test plate assembly may be cut and tack welded together. Any individual other than the welder performing the qualification test, except that the welder may be qualified, should attach the required welding tabs. Welding procedure specification. At the test plate assembly shall be welded in accordance with the welding the WPS using the process the welder is being qualified. Combination variables shall be such that the deposited rate for the qualification test is equal or greater than the higher deposition rate that will be used for the production. 5.3 Additional requirements on Option A. Option A shall be used for the qualified welders with the use steel backing. Steel backing shall be minimum of thickness of 1/4 inch and 6 millimeters, and maximum of 3/4 inch. 18 millimeters shall be at least 1 inch wide. Backing width should be 3 inch wide, but the radiographic should be used to evaluate the weld. Backing should be attached with the test plate assembly with the tack welds. Groove weld detail. The groove weld detail shown shall be 3/8 of an inch or 6 millimeters root open, one positive or negative of 1/16 of an inch, or 1.5 millimeters. This include the angle of the shall be 30 degrees and plus or minus 5 degrees. Option A limitation. Welder qualified in accordance with Option A shall be permitted to weld any of the joint using steel backing. Separate qualification shall be required for the type of the backing is changed, e.g. for the change for the steel from ceramic to steel backing to the open root joints, the tat, etc. 5.3.4 Additional requirements to Option B. Option B welders shall be used for the qualified welders for the use of the other than steel backing, including the ceramic, copper backing, open root welding. 5.3.5 Backing removal. After the groove weld has been completed, non-steel backing, if used, shall be removed, the welder being qualified. Back gouging, back welding removal shall be done in overhead position. The root of the weld shall be back gouged in solid metal. The back gouged cavity shall be back welded. Back welded should be performed overhead position welding process for the overhead welding, not to be seen at the use for the flat position welding. Option B, limitation. Welder qualified in accordance with the option B shall be qualified to use the specific back typing used during the testing back root openings will not be greater than the used in the welder qualification test. Separate qualification shall be required if the type of the backing is changed. Change the copper to ceramic, copper to steel, etc. Alright, 5-4, specimen testing. Visual inspection after removal of the web plate, column plate, attachment plate of the weldment shall be physically inspected. Additional testing. Test plate should be subject to one of the following tests, optional with the Wabo examiner. Bending test, see section 2713.10.1, or RT inspection, section 2713.10.4. Bending test. Specimen location. The flat test shall be cut and prepared with the 4 transverse side bend testing, which each test sample 3/8 inch thickness, 2 side bend specimens, which shall be region was under the inch of the web plate. 2 side bend plates shall be taken from within 1/4 inch of the end of the weld. The side of the specimen near the end of the weld shall be clearly marked. 5-4-2-1-2 specimen testing procedure. For 2 specimens taken with the end of the weld, specimen shall be bent so that the side of the bending specimen that was nearest the end of the weld becomes a convex side of the bending specimen. See the greatest tension. Retest. In case the welder or welding operator fails to meet the requirements for one or more test welds, a retest may be allowed under the following conditions. Immediate retest within 7 days of the notification of failure. Retest should consist of 2 welds, each type of each position with which welder or welding operator failed. Subsequent retest may be provided with the welder operator submits document proof of the 8 hours minimum further training practice, in which case the single retest weld of each type the position failed shall be made. Section 2317, 2713.7, qualification testing required limitations, general notes, final qualification qualifies shop at the swap, qualification does not qualify for the field. Qualified thickness, range, position are shown in Table 2713A through H. Limitation of these certifications are shown in Table 2713-1. Welder qualification operators who are approved electrode shielding medium combination shall be considered qualified for the weld any other approved electrode shielding medium combination of the process using the process and procedure qualification testing. For structural reinforced steel qualification, vertical position welding it shall be upwards for each of the welding process SMA, WGMA, flux core arc welding, gas tungsten arc welding, and submerged arc welding. For the certifications required to test the plates for the pipe shall be welding in the structural steels listed in Table 2713J using electrode position plate on pipe thickness. Table 2713A through E. For short sheet steel welder qualification, T-weld plates will be welded using one of the sheet steels listed in Table 2713K using electrode position shown in Table 2713F and 2713G. Sheet steel qualifications has qualified as the welder for both galvanized uncoated steel. For reinforcement steel welder qualification number 4, ASTM ASO 46 bars shall be welded in any of the following structure listed in Table 2713J. Electrodes in the position shown in Table 2713H for the 2 test assemblies are required. The welder should be certified in the welding process method of the qualifying test only with the shield metal arc welding, gas metal arc welding, gas tungsten arc welding, flux core arc welding, submerged arc welding. Certification all the others include short circuiting, short arc, and gas metal arc welding not covered by the standard. The welder should be qualified with the welder of filler metal, same designation, lower strength than used in the test of the F4 of lowercase the submerged arc welding, shielded metal arc welding process. See Table 27L. Alright, Section 2713D, the visual inspection criteria and acceptance. All wheels shall be visually inspected. The root pass shall be visually inspected, approved with the Wabo, approved with the welding examiner, primary continuation, final visual inspection welds beginning immediately with the completed welds that have been cooled to ambient temperature. 1. Plate reinforcement steel weld. The weld shall be acceptable visual inspection showing the following. The wheels have no cracked or arc strikes outside of the welded area. The fusion that exists with the adjacent layers of the welded metal between the welded metal and the base metal. All craters are filled with the full cross-sectional weld. The welded profiles in accordance with the Section 2713D4. Undercut is no more than 1/32 of an inch deep nor exceeds 10 of the test welded length. The piping porosity does not exceed 1 pore. Welds are standard terminated at the end of the joint in manner with which that will ensure sound weld welds. Piping and tubing. All pipe welds should be accepted with visual inspection showing the following. The weld has no cracks, arcs, or strikes on outside of the welded area. All craters are filled with the full construct cross section of the weld. The face of the weld at least flushes the outside of the surface of the pipe. The weld emerges smoothly with the base metal undercut that should not exceed 13 1/32 of an inch. Weld reinforcement shall not exceed the following. Pipe wall thickness 3/8 of an inch less than reinforcement 3.32 of an inch. 3/8 of an inch to 340. Pipe wall thickness 3/8 of an inch to 3/4 of an inch. Include reinforcement maximum inches 1/8 of an inch, over 3/4 of an inch, 3/16 of an inch. There's no evidence of the cracking, complete fusion, inadequate joint preparation of the root. The concave root surface permitted with the limits of the section 2713 D82225 below, provided with a total welding thickness equal to greater than this base metal. The maximum root surface concavity is 1/16 of an inch. Maximum melt through is 1/8 of an inch. Sheet steel fillet welds. Fillet weld may be accepted with visual inspection, responsible uniform appearance with a free overlaps and cracks, excessive undercut. For acceptable and unacceptable weld profiles, groove welds should be properly made with a slight minimum reinforcement. The reinforcement shall not exceed 1/8 of an inch high and shall have gradual transition and planes over the base metal. The surface of figure 2713-22 shall be free of the discontinuity shown in the butt joint seen in figure 2713-10-2. Section 2713-9, test specimens, root face, and side bend. Type and number. Type of the number of the test specimen must be mechanically tested and qualified with well 1. Radiographic testing is not used shown in figure 2713-11-1 through 11-8. Section 1310, method of testing specimen, root face, and side bending testing evaluation. The entire length of the groove weld shall be examined visual prior to the cutting of the specimen. Each specimen shall be bent with a jig having the counter shape shown in figure 2713-12-1. Otherwise substantial in accordance with the figure and inconvenient means but may be used to move the plunger member with the relation to the die member. The specimen shall be placed with the die member of the jig and the weld at the midspan. The root bend specimen shall be placed within the root weld directly toward the die member. The face bend specimen shall be placed with the face weld directly toward the die member. Side bend specimen shall be placed on with the side showing the greatest discontinuity, if any, with the director or the die member. Plunger member shall be forced the specimen die member until the specimen becomes the U-shape. The weld heat affected zone shall be centered and complete with the bent portion of the specimen after testing. The convex surface of the bent specimen shall be visually examined for the surface discontinuity for acceptance. Further, the surface shall no longer discontinue exceeding the following dimensions: 1/8 of an inch measured in any direction of the surface, 3/8 of an inch sum of the greater dimension of the discontinuity exceeding 1/32 inch but less than or equal to 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch maximum corner crack, except with the corner crack result of the visible slag inclusion, other fusion discontinuity within 1/8 of an inch maximum shall apply with the specimen. Corner cracks exceeding 1/4 of an inch, not evidence slag exclusion and other fusion time of discontinuity discard replacement test specimen. The original weldment shall be tested. Alright, 2. Sheet steel fillet weld break test evaluation. The entire fillet and length of the fillet weld, see figure 2713-12-2, shall be examined visually. Then 5 inches long specimen should be loaded in such a way that the root welds of the tension load shall be steadily increased, repeated until the specimen fracture bends flat upon itself. The specimen shall pass the test if it bends flat upon itself, and if the fillet welds fractured, the fracture should be complete fusion in the root of the joint. 3. Reinforcement steel weld test evaluation. The entire length of the flat bevel groove weld should be visually examined. Each of the test assembly shall be mechanically cut in 2 locations, provided with the 2 transverse cross sections each of the welded assembly. Alright, the macrotech test shall be performed with the polishing, etching cross-section suitable solution to give it the clear definition of the weld. Its etch cross-section shall have the minimum designated effective welded size. Flare groove test assembly. See figure 2713-0909. Radiographic testing. Radio examining of the welder operative test plate may be in lieu of the bending of the test. Radiographic testing is used in lieu of the prescribed bend test. The welding reinforcement need not to be grounded, otherwise smooth in inspection unless the surface irregularity junction with the base metal cause objectionable weld to discontinue obscure in the radiograph. These backing remove the radiograph. The root shall be ground flush with the base metal. Exceeding 1 1/4 inch for the end of the weld evaluation, place testing with the welder qualification. Exclude 3 inch at the end of each of the length of the test plate welding operator qualification. The welding test shall be examined with a minimum of 1/2 of the welded perimeter selected to include the sample of the wall position weld. For example, the test pipe test tube weld in 5G, 6G, 6GR position shall be radiographed in top center line with the bottom center on the either side. The radiograph Fig procedure technique should in accordance with the current requirements of the ANSI AWSD11. Acceptable qualification radiograph shall have no cracks, shall conform with the following. The greatest dimension and porosity fusion type of the discontinuity is less than 1/16 of an inch. The larger graded dimension shall not exceed size B, indicated with the figure 2713.13.1. For this effective throat and weld size involved, the distance of any porosity fusion type discontinuity described in any of another such discontinuity shall not be less than the minimum clearance as allowed in C, indicated in the figure 2713.13.1. It is from for the side of the discontinuity under examination. Discontinuities having greater dimensions of less than 1/16 inch shall be unacceptable if the sum of the greatness dimensions exceed 3/8 of an inch in a linear inch of the weld. Section 2713.1.11. Technical inquiries. All inquiries must be submitted to the writing to Wabo Performance Standard Technical Advisory Task Force, Wabo, P.O. Box 7310, Olympia, Washington 98507-7310. All inquiries must contain the name, address, affiliation with the inquirer. They must provide with enough information for the task force member to fully understand the point of concern in the inquiry. Where the point is nearly clearly defined, the inquiry will return clarification. Inquiries shall be typewritten and electronic mail is acceptable. Each inquiry shall be limited to a single point unless the inquiry involves two or more interrelated concerns. Any inquiry should be concise for the yet complete to enable the task force member to quickly fully understand the point of inquiry. Sketches should be used when the appropriate in all paragraphs. Figure tables which relate the inquiry must be provided. Technical inquiries of Wabo concerning the Washington and building officials 27 and 13 shall be limited to question the general nature of the matters directly related to the administration of the Washington Association Builder Officials of Welder Certification Program. Wabo Board of Directors policy requires that all the program support personal respond telephone request telephone inquiry with information such as an inquiry to obtain with the written request. The Welder program supports personal and cannot provide consulting services. Alright, 271312, challenging and appeals. Agency contact registered agent certified welder in the Wabo welder qualifying agency registration welder certification program may be challenged or an appeal and written upon any ground resulting in an agency survey, auditing, individual application review, examination, or interview, any other program related disciplinary action. A challenge must be submitted in the writing and reviewed by the Wabo Executive Director and designed pursuant to the procedure adopted with implementing the policy. The change rejected with the executive order of the designee, the challenger may then appeal in writing to the Wabo Certification Registration Committee. If the change is rejected with the Certification Registration Committee, the challenger may then appeal to the Wabo Executive Board. The Wabo Executive Board denies the appeal, and then the challenger's final right to the appeal shall be able to to a hearing officer appointed the Wabo Executive Order pursuant to the procedure adopted in implementing of the policy. Or Section 2713.3, suspension and withdrawal of the registration of specific agency or the certification of its personnel might be submitted with the withdrawal pursuant to the procedure adopted in implementing the policy. Failure to abide by any of the terms of suspension may result in registration of the agency and or certification of being withdrawn. Registration and certification need not to have suspended for being withdrawn. Wabo Executive Director should advise the agency contact person to hire his or her right to challenge the appeal, suspension, withdrawal of the action. Appendixes. List of figures. Test position 1G plate, 2G plate, 3G plate, 4G plate. Qualification testing position through fillet. Testing 3F plate, position 4F plate. Qualification testing position piping and tubing 2G pipe. Piping and tubing position 5G, piping and tubing position 6G, piping and tubing position 6GR, piping and tubing parts of the tubular connections. Qualifying testing positions, reinforcement state testing position, vertical testing position, overhead qualification testing configuration, test plate unlimited thickness, test plate limited thickness, gas metal arc welding, gas tungsten arc welding only, test plate optional unlimited thickness, test plate limited thickness, pipe butt joint without backing, pipe with butt joint with backing. Qualification test configuration, test joint, TK and Y joint piping or tubing, sheet steel fillet, weld test assembly, welder operator unlimited thickness, reinforcement steel test assembly, acceptable groove weld profile plate, unacceptable groove weld profile plates, Testing specimen root and face and side bend. Groove test plate, unlimited thickness. Groove test plate, limited thickness. Gas metal arc welding, gas tungsten arc welding only. Pipe test 2G position. Pipe test 5G, 6G position. Pipe test 6GR position. Welding operator test, unlimited thickness. Side bend, facing, root blend, guided bended test jig specimen. Philip brake specimen. Radiographic welding quality requirement discontinuity. Qualification test configuration seismic test plate configuration of option A, test plate configuration option B, test plate configuration illustrations. And all right, your qualification testing position grooves. They're the flat test position 1G, horizontal testing position 2G, testing position 3G, and overhead testing position 4G. Axis of the welded vertical to vertical test position 3F. Axis of the welded horizontal, one plate must be horizontal overhead position, testing position 4F. Our testing position 2G, the test shall be placed within the axis within 15 degree, plus or minus 15 degree of the vertical welding groove horizontal of the pipe is not rotated during the welding. Testing 2B, position 5G, the test pipe shall be placed with the axis within 15 degree of the horizontal groove vertical pipe. The pipe is not rotated during welding. Alright, qualification testing position pipe, test pipe 6G. Testing pipe shall be inclined in a 45 degree plus or minus 5 degrees with a horizontal temp pipe that is not rotated during the welding. Testing position 6G or TKY connections, restriction O-ring, testing weld in 45 plus or minus 5 degrees. The test pipe shall be inclined at 45 to plus or minus with a horizontal pipe. The tube is not rotated during welding. Alright, position of a tubular connection. You have the heel, side, and toe, and branch member of the main member, the A circular sections. Your square bar shows the heel, corner, side, corner, toes, box section, heel, corner, side, corner, toe, branch member, angle, A, the angle. Alright, C connection, T connections, minimal limited T connections 10 degrees, toe zone 10 degrees, 90 T, side zone D, Y connection greater than 10 degrees, E, K connection, gap G, degree angle G, test F K combination connections, the KTK. G grade, KTY, detail G, gap, and then they showed the detailed measurement, gap G along the surface of the corridor between the projection, branch pipe membered outside the surface of the ETH nearest approach, and cross section. Qualification testing reinforcement, steel testing position vertical axis weld vertical, testing position overhead axis weld horizontal. Alright, testing plate welder qualification unlimited thickness, side bend specimen, 1 inch, 1 inch by 1 inch, 45 degree angle, 6 minute minimum, 1/4 inch, 5 minutes, side bend specimen, direction of rolling operation. When radiographed view of the testing, no tack weld should be used in the test area. The joint details should be as follows: 1 inch plate with a single V groove, 45 degree angle, including angle of 1/4 inch maximum root opening, backing must be in 1/4 inch through 3/8 inch by 1 inch minimum length. The welding groove shall be 5 inches. Radiographic and view of the qualification backing must be at least 3/8 inch, and 3 inch of the backing is not removed prior to the test. Alright, limited thickness gas metal arc welding, gas and tungsten arc welding only. Alright, you have your face bend 3/8 inch, 1 inch from the root bend specimen. The 45 degree angle direction of the rolling operation shows the box weld and the back plate in 6 minutes and 7 minutes. Welding radiographic view of the testing. Non-tack weld should be tested and be in the test area. The joint details show as follows: the plate designated technical signal groove, the 45 degree angle, 14 1/4 inch maximum root opening with the backing. The backing must be 1/4 inch by 3/8 inch by 1 inch by 1 inch. Minimum length of the welding groove shall be 7 inches. When radiographic view of the qualification attempts, the backing must be at least 3/8 inch by 3 inches, 1/4 inch by 3 inch. For the gas tungsten arc welding, backing is not removed prior to the test. Alright, optional test plate for the welder certification, unlimited thickness, direct roll for direction of the roll, 45 degree increase, 6 minutes by 5 inches by 1 inch. Figure 271309, limited thickness, 7 minutes by 6 minutes by the 1/4 inch by the 3/8 inch face bend root bend specimen. Directional roll of optional weight and radiographic view of the testing. No tack well should be in the testing area. Horizontal position qualifications joint details may also file with a single bevel groove, 45-degree angle, 14-inch, quarter-inch maximum root opening with backing. Welding qualification without backing shows the 1/8 of an inch V groove with a 1/8 of an inch maximum, 1/8 of an inch minimum T size, and the 60-degree angle pipe. The joint in the details shows the file of pipe diameter, wall thickness, design, single V groove, 60-degree, including angle of 1/8 of an inch maximum, root face, root opening without back strip, pipe butt joint welder qualification without backing, 60-degree production joint root opening, no qualification with the back stripping of the ring does not qualify the welder without backing strip. Are testing for T, K, and Y connections on pipe and tube. Minimum test pipe, the diameter is 6 inches. No limit of box tube with the 12-inch, 1.5 inch minimum, 3/16 of an inch minimum, 12-inch, 1.5 maximum, 1/8, 6 minutes restriction ring, fillet weld. The joint detail shows as follows: single bevel groove, 37 1.5 degree, included with the angle of the bevel on the pipe to the tube, at least 1/2 inch thickness with the square edge of the pipe. The tube shall be at least 3/16 of an inch thicker than the bevel pipe. The thickness 1/16 of an inch. Maximum root face 1/8 of an inch root opening. The restriction ring shall be placed on the thicker material within 1/2 inch of the joint. Shall exceed at least 6 inches beyond the surface of the pipe and tube. Qualification testing configuration sheet steel fillet weld test assembly with 16-inch gauge steel, 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch uncoated plate, 3 inches by 3 inches width, 6 inches. Or qualification testing configuration welding operator unlimited thickness specimen side specimen sidebend specimen directional over the rolling optional. 6-inch minimum, 6-inch minimum, 5/8 of an inch, 1 inch from 2 inch, 15 minutes. The joint design shall be as follows: 1 inch plate with a single veil groove of 20-degree, including 5/8 root opening the back plate. Back plate must be at least 3/8 of an inch by 3 inch for the radiographic view with the testing without removing the back plate. Backing must be at least 3/8 of an inch, 1.25 inch from the mechanical testing radiographic test of head. After backing is removed, minimum length of weld groove shall be at least 15 inches. Qualification testing, configuration, reinforcement, steel testing, assembly. Reinforcement, steel flare, bevel groove, indirect butt joint. A, S&E L1 and L1, L1 and L1, 3/4 inch maximum, 6 3/4 inch between A and L1 and L1, 3/4 max. SA 11 L1 3 is equal to 3 inches. Our section AA shows the 1/2 inch by 2.5 inches. The number 4 bar SE convex and S standard equals to 1/4 inch. E equals to 1/10 of an inch. Welding effective welding size is EM04S and 0/10 of an inch. Acceptable groove welded groove profile plate. Butt thickness equal thickness plate. The T1 R butt joint transition unequal thickness plate radius. The reinforcement R shall be not exceed 1/8 of an inch minimum. Unacceptable groove weld profile plates. Excessive convexity, insufficient throat, excessive undercut, overlap. Groove test plate, unlimited thickness. Side bend specimen 1 inch by 1 inch, 5 minutes by 6 minutes, 1/4 inch. Side bend directional rolling optional. Groove testing plate, limited thickness, gas metal arc welding, gas tungsten arc welding, face bend, root bend specimen 1 inch by 3 inch, 6 minutes by 1/4 inch, 7 inch. Directional roll operational. The radiographic view for the testing non-tack weld should be in the test area. Pipe testing 2G position side bend, 40 degree angle side bend. 5 and 6G position, top of the pipe in the field, 5G, 6G, and 6GR position, side bend, 45 inches, side bend. Pipe 6GR test position, 6GR position, top of the pipe position, 6GR position, 45 degrees, side bend. The system of the specimen bend shall be typically indicated with the end machine to be standard specimen with parallel sides. Welding operator test unlimited thickness side specimen 15 minutes for 6 minutes by 5/8 of an inch, 1 inch from 2 inch. Center 2 inch from the center line 20 degree angle groove. Directional rolling operation when the radiographic view of the testing no tack weld should be in the testing area. Your side bend face figure 2 side bend 6 minutes with the oxygen allow approximately 1/8 of inch mechanically remove the edges 1/8 of inch 3/8 of inch approximately radius 1/8 of inch thickness of the plate T face and root bend 6 inches minimum 1 1/2 inch for the 3/8 of an inch. These edges may be oxygen cut, may not be machined. 2. The welding reinforcement backing, if any, should be removed flush with the surface of the specimen recessed in the backing. If the surface machine tube does depth not exceeding the depth of the recess of the move of the backing, in such case, thickness of the finished specimen shall not be specified as above the cut surface shall be smooth and parallel. Guide bend testing jig specification. Tape holds is slot of the testing machine as required with a 3/4 inch fillet, 1/8 of an inch backing to 3/4 inch fillet with a 2 inch and by 3/7/8 of an inch as for the tape to the hole of the slot in the testing machine. All right, you have your hardness. Many rollers 1/4 inch diameter may be substituted for jigs and shoulders. As you plunge, remember the A degree 3/4 inch as required, and shoulder heads grease, shoulders greasing. 3/4 inch, 4 1/2 inch, 5 1/4 inch shows the bending of the die member. Thickness member specimen 3/8 of an inch A, 1 1/2 inch B, 3 1/4 inch C, 2 3/8 of an inch D, 1 3/16 of an inch. Material all steel, minimum speed specified yield strength under 50,000 or under. Fillet breaker specimen lateral force 1 1/2 inch discard. The fillet weld break specimen shall be cut from the test coupon as shown. Radiographic welding quality requirements for discontinuity. C equals the minimum clearance measured along the longitudinal axis between the edge of the porosity fusion type of the discontinuities. Larger adjacent disquantities discontinuities govern. A is the groove weld size or fillet weld size in inches. 1. Determine the maximum size of the discontinuity permitted with any of the joint welded size projection horizontal to B. Determine the minimum clearance allowed for the between the edge and the discontinuity of any side of the projection B and to C vertical. Alright, the B, the dimension of the discontinuity of inches, starting at 1/2 inch to 1/4 inch, 1/16 of an inch, 1/8 of an inch, 3/16 of an inch, 1/4 inch, 5/16, 3/8 of an inch, 7/16 of an inch, 1/2. Alright, your test plate configuration for option 1. You have your column plate, attachment plate, 1/4 inch, 6 inch maximum, 1/8 of an inch, 3 millimeter maximum, 3 inch thick, 7.5 inch maximum, 1 minimum weld plate thickness, 6 inch weld plate, column plate, 3/8 of an inch maximum radius, 3/4 inch max, 1 inch fillet, 6 inches by 6 inch minimum, 1 inch minute plate. 1. The welded axis for the whole admission of applicable to test only groove dimensions shall be 3/8 inch and a root open 30-degree bevel. 3. The steel backing shall be equal to greater than 1/4 inch but not greater than 3/4 inch and thick shall be bent with 1 inch for the wide. Length of the backing shall be 12 inches plus the running of the length of the minimum. The test plate column plate shall be the same length of 12 inches minimum. Attachment plate may be in any side of the dimension. Column plate may be any thickness. Alright, test plate configuration B. Attachment plate, column plate, maximum radius 3/4 of an inch, 3/8 of an inch, 3/4 of an inch, fillet 1/8 of an inch, 1 inch, 4/16 of an inch, 4/4 inch. Basically, the weld access for the whole dimension are applicable for this test only 1. Number 2, the non-steel backing shall be open root. 3, the groove shall be 30-degree bevel root opening with the test shall be maximum the fillet weld qualified for. Test plate and column plate should be the same as length of the 12-inch minimum, and attachment plate may be any other side of the dimension. Column plate for the may be any thickness. The test plate configuration for option B. The one location shall be marked with the test plate disassembling the test configuration. C313. The web plate shall be centered with the test plate. Figure 17, 13, 14, 3 test plate configuration and illustration. Alright, consists of tables, specification for field, certification, structural welder plate, specifications for shop, certification, structural welder plate, specification field, certification, structural welder pipe, specification shop, certification, structural welder pipe, specification field, shop, certification, TK and Y, connections, piping and tubing, specification fielding, certification sheet, fillet weld, specification shop, certification sheet, steel, fillet weld, specification shop, certification, limitation certifications, matching field, metal requirements, sheet, steel, filter, metal numbers, shield mark, metal arc, arc welding process. Nominal dimension standard reinforcement bars. Designing for welding allied process. Alphabetical process. Designation welding allied process. Alphabetical and designation. Standard welding terms and definitions. Sample welding procedures and systematic submerged arc welding. Sample welding procedures. Flux core arc welding. Sample welding procedures. Gas metal arc welding are special for welding certification, structural welder plate, and submerged arc welding, gas mark arc welding, flux core arc welding, gas tungsten arc welding. Use electrodes within the AWS. Quantity of the test plate to be welded in position. Thickness for each of the test plate. Thickness of the range. Qualified person. Alright, table 2713B, specification for the shop certification, structural welder, plate, submerged arc welding, gas mark welding, wooden flux core arc welding, gas tungsten arc welding, submerged arc welding, using electrode with American welding designation, quality of the testing to welded position, thickness of each test plate, thickness range qualified, position qualified. Testing table 2713C, the specification for field certification structural welder pipes, merge arc welding, gas metal arc welding, flux core arc welding, gas tungsten arc welding. Use of electrode with the American welding designation, quantity of the test plate with the welding position, test pipe size, pipes qualified, material thickness qualified, and pipe plate position qualified. Specification, shop certification, structural welder, seal, submerged arc welding, gas mark welding, flux core arc welding, gas tungsten arc welding. Electrode used by the AWS designation, quantity of the test plates to be welded in position, test pipe size, pipes size qualified, material thickness qualified, pipe and plate position qualified. Table 2713E, specification for field of shop certification, TKY and connection pipe and tubing, submerged arc welding, gas mark arc welding, flux core arc welding, gas tungsten arc welding using electrode with the AWS quantity of test plates to be used in position, test pipe size, pipe size qualified, material thickness and qualified, pipe and plate position qualified. Specification, field certification, sheet steel fillet weld, submerged arc gas welding, shield metal arc welding, gas metal arc welding, flux core arc welding, gas tungsten arc welding. Use electrode with the American Welding Society. Quantity testing plates to the welding position, testing each of the plate with the tested plate, thickness range and qualified personal position qualified, and then the specification for shop certification, sheet steel fillet weld, submerged arc welding, gas metal arc welding, flux core arc welding, gas tungsten arc welding. Use electrode with the AWS designation. Quantity test plates to weld in position, thickness of each of the tested plate, thickness range qualified, position qualified. Alright, 2713A, specification reinforcement steel welding, get submerged arc welding, gas metal arc welding, flux core arc welding, use electrode, AWS designation, quantity of the test plates to be welded in position, bare size tested, bar size tested, bare size qualified, bar cell position qualified. Limitations of certifications, matching filler metal requirements, sheet steel filler metal numbers and submerged arc welding gas, nominal dimension standard reinforcement bars, designation welding applied processes alphabetically, designation welding allied process alphabetically, and designation. Standard weld. Let's start on this. We'll do the top first, and then we'll move down. All right, you fillet level triangle on the bottom side, other side. Fillet triangle, double side, double triangle. No arrow side other than significant. But plug slot, square on the other side. Both sides not used. Not using no arrows, other significance. Circle means a spot projection on either side of the arrow. Now arrow or other side significant. Circle through the center. Seams, a circle with two lines through it. Seam is circle with two lines through it. Not used. Both no arrow, other side significant. Both arrows. Circle with two arrows parallel through it. Backing groove weld. V with a convexity shape or convex with a convexity shape. Not used both sides, no arrow on the other side. Surfacing double hump, not used on the other side or both sides are on their other significant. Scarf or braids joint, two diagonal dashes on both sides, either side of the arrow, or there's two diagonal dashes right through the center of on both sides through the center of the arrow, crossing the arrow. not used on no other side or other significant. And then you have your flange, which is two like perpendicular wall U-shaped walls, not used, not used. All right, the convex contour symbol. Contour symbol. The convex contour symbol indicates the face weld to be finished with a convex contour. Flange symbol. The user standard indicates the method of obtaining the specific contour of the degree to the finished weld. Around the symbol indicates the weld, extending the complexity around the joint. These show the circle around the arrow joint and the fillet and double fillet weld. Joint with backing shows the plugger slot level with an M or the material and dimension spacing and the also with a groove weld. Shows the modified groove weld with a plugger slot with two groove welds, and see the note double bevel groove material dimension or spacing specified. Any applicable welding symbol, a groove symbol with a filled in convex sign melt through is not dimensional acceptance height. Alright, your flush contour symbol shows the, let's start here down there in supplementary symbols. The circle around the junction of the joint of the arrow and the line is weld around. Field weld it shows the flag, either left or to the right. Will melt through for the bottom, but it shows a filled in convex shape. Backing spacing, back spacing shows a rectangular on the top or in through the middle without the line going through the center. Flush is the line running parallel with the before the turn of the arrow. Convex shows the line of a cave, upper U or like a the upper like a thumbnail, and then under U with a concave. Alright, flush contour symbols. Flush contour symbol indicates face with welds made with the flesh. When used with the finish symbol indicates welding without subsequent finishing. Finish symbol used with the standard indicates the method of obtaining the specified contour between the knot and degree with the finish. Multiple reference lines for operation shown with the reference nearest arrow. Second operation supplementary data. Third operation testing information. Field welding symbol. The field welding symbol indicates the weld to be made with a place other than the initial construction. And the complete penetration includes the complete penetration regardless of the type of the weld and joint penetration. Alright, location of the element welding symbols. Starting with the arrow, you have the arrow connection reference line of the arrow side member of the joint. Welding all around the symbol, joint, fillet weld symbol, reference line, pitch of the center spacing of the welds, groove of the angle, included the angle countersink of the plug welds. The elements in the area remain as shown through the tail and arrows reversed. Number of spots and projection welds. Arrow side, other side, finish symbol, contour symbol, the root of opening, depth and filling of the opening for plug inside slot welds, effective throat, depth of penetration side of the certain welds and specification process. T, the tail omitted when reference is not used. Basic weld symbol, the detailed reference, other side or on both sides. Alright, standards welding qualification and welding symbols: continued basic joint and identification, arrow side, other side joint, arrow welding side, arrow side joint, other side joint, arrow side welding symbol joint. Shows you the butt corner joint and the T joint. The corner joint is an arrow sided joint with the arrow welding point with the other side of the weld. T joint, arrow welding symbol, arrow side of the joint, other side. Alright, you have your flare and your corner on your corners, and then you have your square. For your square bevel and V and bevel U groove J flare bevel. The location significant, arrow side, other side, both sides. Typical welding symbols: slot welding, square groove welding symbol, flare valve, bevel groove welding symbol, plug welding symbol, chain intermittent fillet welding symbol, edge and corner flange welding symbol, background welding symbol, backing welding symbol, surface welding symbol indicating built up surface. Flash upset welding, staggered intermediate fillet welding, single groove welding symbol indicating roof penetration, spot welding symbols, double bevel welding symbols, seam welding symbols, projection welding symbols. Standard welding, uncontinued welding symbols, combined welds, double fillet welding, size, length, specification process, other references. Length of the mission indicates the weld extending the bench between the change of the direction and dimension. Basic joints identification: arrow side, other side joint, lap joint, other side member joint, arrow of the welding symbol, arrow side of the metal joint, arrow out of the joint, arrow of the welding symbol, joint in 30 degrees. Process abbreviations. When the process is abbreviation shall include the tail of the welding symbol reference made with the table A designation of the welding applied with the process letters of the American Welding Society 247971 American Welding Society Incorporated 2501 South Street, Miami, Florida 33125. Our table of definition: all weld metal testing specimen testament with reduced section composed with wholly of the whole metal angle with the bevel. See preferred term bevel angled arc gouging, acting with accounting with the procedure used with the form of the bevel groove. This as well the condition of the weld movement, weld joints, weldments after welding prior to any subsequent thermal and mechanical chemical treatments. Automatic welding is equipment which performs the welding operation without adjustment of the control of the welding operator. The equipment may or may not be performed loading and its unloading of the work. It's machine welding. Access of the weld line through the length of the weld perpendicular to an or geometrical center of the cross section. Back gouging the move of the weld metal over the base metal through the outside of the dorsal weld joint ensure the complete with the penetration with the upon subsequent welding of from that side. Backing the material metal welded metal carbon or granular placed with the roof of the weld joint through the back purpose of supporting the molten welded metal. Back passing backing pass pass made of the deposit back weld. The backing ring of the packing in the form of the ring generally used with the welding of the pipe. Back strapping C preferred with the back stripping become backing form of the strip, back welding back in the form of the weld, back up with the weld, the tubular structure of the initial closing pass with the complete joint preparation groove of the weld made only on one side with the serve the backing of the subsequent welding not considered as part of the theoretical weld, back weld, the weld deposited with the back of the single groove weld, base metal to metal to be welded and soldered or cut, bevel angle, the angle of the form between the preparator angle with the edge of the bit member of the plane perpendicular surface of the member of the box and continuing the fillet weld around the corner of the member of the extension over the principal weld, the butt joint between two members of lined approximately in the same plane, butt weld, the airness term with the weld in a butt joint, see the joint, butt joint, complete fusion of the curve over the entire base of the materials intended for the welding of between all layers of the weld to be complete joint penetration when the weld is complete with the fill for the groove of the fuse of the base metal throughout the total thickness, complete penetration. See preferred as term with complete joint penetration, consumable guide of electrostatic welding, see electroslag welding. Continuous weld, the weld which extends continuously one end of the joint over the other with the joint is essentially circular and extends completely around the joint corner joint between the two members are located with approximately right angle to each other. The CO2 welding is preferred to the term as gas metal arc welding crater with the arc welding depression termination welding bed of the molten welding pool. D, the defect, the discontinuity discontinues which from the nature actuated by the effect of the render of the part of the product unable to meet the minimum applicable acceptance standard of the specification. The term is designated rejectable defective weld, the weld containing one or more defects. Depth of fusion, distance of fusion extending from the base of the metal with the previous pass from the surface metal during the welding. Discontinuity and an interruption in the typical structure of the weldment, such the lack of the homogeneity with the mechanical, metallurgic, physical characteristics, material and weldment, and discontinuity not necessarily defective downhand, see the firm flat position, effective length of the weld throughout which the corrective proportions cross section exists, then curve the weld within measured along with the electro gas welding (EGW) and electric welding process produced by the coherency of the metal and the heating of the arc between the continuous filler metal consumable electrode and with a work molding in the shoes that are usually confined with the molten welded metal. For the vertical position weld, the electrodes may be in either flex core or solid shield metal. Arc welding may be attained externally supplied with gas and mixture. Electrostatic welding (EWS) of the welding process producing covalently the weld metals between the molten slag with the molten filler metal surface of the work to be welded with molten welded pool. Shield within the slag with the move of the full cross-sectional edge over the joint welding process. The process is initiated by an arc with the sheets of the slag. The arc is extinguished with the conductive slag that is maintained with the molten condition resistance of electric current passing through the electrode of the work. Consumable guide electrostatic welding. Method of electrostatic welding is in which the filler metal is supplied with electrode and guiding with the member. At mating surface of the member, which is contact with close to the proximity with another member to is to be joined. Filler metal. The metal to be added with the making of the welding joint. See electrode and welding rod. Flare bevel the groove weld. The weld of the groove formed with the member of the curved surface in the contact with the planar weld. Flare V groove. The weld of the groove formed in two members of the curved surface. Flash. The material with expelled, squeezed out with the welded joint which forms around the weld. Flat position. The welding position used to weld the upper side of the joint and face of the weld approximately horizontal. Flux core arc welding. FCAW, an arc welding process produced with the covalent metal with the heating them to the arc between the continuous filler metal with the consumable electrode and the work shall be provided with the flux containing with the electrode. Additional shielding may and may not be obtained with the electrical supplied gas mixture fusion. The metal together with the fitter metal, base metal, the melting of the base metal only which results in coal intensity and the set of the depth of fusion. On the fusion type, the discontinuity the significant slag inclusion, complete fusion, complete joint penetration, similar discontinuities associated with the fusion. Fusion zone, the area of the base metal metals and determine the cross section of the weld gas metal arc welding. The arc welding process would proceed with the coalency metals for the heating of them with the arc between the continuously filler metal consumable layer rod with the work that show the shielding and obtained entirely with external supplied gas or gas mixture. Some of the methods of the process are called MIG or CO2 welding, non-preferred terms. Gas metal arc welding short circuit arc, or the gas metal arc welding short circuit, the gas metal arc welding process variation, consumable electrode deposit during the repeated short circuit, the sometimes process referred to the MIG or CO2 welding, non-preferred terms. Gas pocket, any cavity used with the entrap gas gouging, the form of the bevel groove, the material removal, the seeing the back gouging, air gouging, oxygen gouging. Groove angle, the total including the angle of the groove between the parts of the joint, the groove weld, groove face, the surface of the member included in the groove weld, the weld move, the groove between the two members to be joined. H heated affected zone, the portion of the base metal which not meant to be metal between the mechanical properties microstructure have been altered by the heating of the welding, brazing, soldering, or the cutting. Horizontal fixed position pipe welding point, position of the pipe weld in which the axis of the pipe is approximately horizontal but not rotated during the welding. Horizontal position fillet weld, position in which the welding is performed upper the side of the approximately horizontal surface against the approximately vertical surface. The horizontal position groove weld, position with welding is axis with the weld line approximately horizontal plane face with the weld lies approximately vertical with the plane. Horizontal rolled position pipe welding, position of the pipe in which the axis of the pipe is approximately horizontal welding and performed the flat position rotating the pipe. Intermittent gas arc welding. See preferred term gas metal arc welding. Intermittent welding, a weld in which continuity broke with recurring weld in the space of the interpass temperature and multiple pass weld temperatures minimum and maximum specify the deposited weld before the next pass is started. Join the junction members over the edge of the member that are to be joined but that have been joined. Joint penetrates the maximum minimum depth of the groove and flange with the same within the face into the joint exclusive for reinforcement. Joint penetration may include the rope penetration. Joint welding procedure of the material detailed methods practice employed in the welding of the particular joint. Lap joint joint between two overlapping members of the layer and straighten welded material surfacing metal layer must consist of one or more welds be delayed on side to side like with a fillet weld with distance of the root and joint with the two of the fillet weld. The machine welding with the welding equipment with the performs the welding operation under the constant observation control and of an operative equipment may or may not perform loading and unloading of the work. See automatic welding, manual welding operation performed controlled completely by hand. See automatic welding, machine welding, and semi-automatic welding. Overhead position in which the welding is performed with the underside joint overlap the protrusion of the welded metal between the toe and the face of the root of the weld. Oxygen cutting group of the cutting process use to serve or remove metal by means of the chemical reaction with the oxygen-based metal with elevated temperature in case of the oxidization resistant metal of the reaction facilitated by the use of chemical flux or metal power. Oxygen gouging application of the oxygen cutting in the bevel groove is formed. Parallel electrode some submerged arc welding. Partial joint penetration. Joint penetration was the last completed pass. See the preferred welding pass, depending the mechanical working the metals used to impact blows pipe. The tubular shape of the circular cross section. Tubular piping porosity. The general elongated the porosity when the major dimension lie the direction approximately normal to the welding surface, frequently referred to as pinholes when the porosity extends to the welding surface. Plug weld, circular weld made through the hole in the one member of the lap of the two joint, fusing the member together to the other. The weld in the hole may be or may not be parallel to the hole, may be partially completely filled with the weld. The fillet weld in the hole or spot weld should not be constructed as conforming to this definition. Porosity, cavity type, the discontinuity form of the gas entrapment during the solidification position weld welded made to the joint that has been place says to facilitate making of the weld. Post-heated treatment, post-weld heat treatment, any treatment that is subsequent to the welding, preheating the application of the heat of the base metal immediately before welding or brazing, the soldering, or the cutting. Preheat temperature, specified temperature of the base metal attaining in the weld, brazing, soldering, and cutting area immediately before the operations are performed. And procedure qualification and demonstration of the welds made to specific procedure can be the prescribed qualification, and see the preferred terms welder performance qualification, procedure qualification, random sequence. See the preferred term wandering sequence, reinforcement of the weld metal, excessive quantity required to fill a joint, projectable discontinuity referred to the term defect, root face, the portion of the groove, the force face adjacent to the root of the joint, the root gap. See the preferred term root opening. Root of the joint, the portion of the joint where the members of the approach the closet to close to each other in cross section. The root of the joint may either be point or line or an area. Root of the weld, and point shown with the cross section in which the back of the welding intersect with the root base metal of the root opening. The separation of the root opening of the joint between the members to be joined. Same way automatic arc welding. The arc welding with equipment which controls only the filler metal feed. The advance of the welding is manually controlled shield metal arc welding. SMAW, an arc welding process that produces the column C metal with the heating with the arc between the covered spin metal electrode with the work. Shielding is obtained with the decomposition electrode. Cover the pressure is not used. The filler metal is obtained through the electrode. Shielding gas, protective gas used to prevent atmospheric contamination. Single weld the joint in air in arc of the gas welding. Any joint welded from one side only. Side of the weld, group of the weld, the joint penetration, depth of the bevel, the plus of the joint root of the penetration when specified with the side of the group of the weld, effective throw, or one of the same fillet weld for equal length with the fillet weld, length of the leg with the largest isosceles right triangle can be inscribed with the fillet weld cross section. For unequal leg fillet welds, the length of the largest right triangle that can be inscribed with the fillet welds cross section. Note when one of the members makes an angle with another member greater than 105 degrees, the length of the side of the leg is significant for the effective throat, which is the controlling factor of the strength of the saw of the weld. Slot weld. The weld made with the elongated hole with one member of the lap of the T-joint for the member of the portion of the surface of the member for the exposed through the hole. The hole may be one open at one end that may be partially completely filled with the metal. A fillet weld slot should be constructed with the conformity to the definition. Spatter the metal particles expelled during the welding. They do not form part of the weld. Stringer be the type of the weld made with appropriate weaving motion. Stud arc welding, SW, an arc welding process with the product cologne with the metal with the heating with the arc with the metal stud with a similar part with the other work. When the surfaces of the bead joined with the proper heat, if they are brought together under pressure, partially shielding may be obtained with the use of the ceramic fueler surrounded the stud. Shielding gas flux may be or may not be used. Or submerged arc welding, SAW, the arc welding process that produces the column C metal with the heating the arc between the bare metal electrodes. Electrodes over in the work of the arc of the shield, the blank of the granulate fusible metal of the work of the pressure is not used. The filler metal is obtained with the electrode and sometimes from the supplementary welding rod. Single electrode, one of the electrode connected exclusively to one power source, which may consist of one or more power units. Parabolic electrode, two electrodes connected electrically and parabolic exclusively into the same power source. Both electrodes are usually fed in the means for the single electrode feed of the welding current when specified with the two electrodes. Multiple electrodes, the combination of the two or more parallel electrode systems. Each of the component system has two independent power sources into its own electrode feed. Tack weld, the welding made of the whole parts of the welding proper alignment until the final welds are made. Tacker, a fitter, or someone under the direction of the fitter who tacks welds parts of the weldment to hold them in the proper alignment until the final welds are made. Tandem refers to a geometrical arrangement of electrodes in which the line with the arcs are parallel to the direction of the welding. Temporary weld, the weld made a detachment piece of the pieces of the welding. Temporary for the use of handling, shipping, working with the weldment. Throat of the weld, theoretical throat, the distance of the beginning, the road of the joint of the perpendicular hypotenuse to the right of the triangle that can be inscribed within the fillet across the section AC 17 UAL throat. The shortest distance of the root fillet weld is into the face throat of the groove. The preferred size of the weld T joint between the two members located approximately at right angles to each for the other and form the T toe of the weld junction between the face of the weld and base of the metal. Transverse discontinued weld is discontinued with the whose major dimensions areas in the direction of the parallel with the welding axis X. Are tubular products in generic type term of the family hollow section product with various cross-sectional configuration. The term of the pipe does not denote the cylinder product but differentiate from the square and rectangular hollow section product. However, the tube of the cut tubing can be cylindrical and use should be note the AIS designation tubular section TSE times T for the circular tube of the pipes. TSAB times B times T for the square rectangular tube preferred for the collective blocks section 10, whereas TS for the group. Symbol T nominal wall thickness T and nominal outside the diameter nominal major with the B minor with the width of the B nominal minor width. Tubular connection a connection with the portion of the tubular structure which contains two or more intersecting tubular members. Tubular joint interface created by the one or tubular member of the intersection joint. U undercut a groove melted in the base of the metal with the adjacent to the tail of the root of the weld and left unfilled by metal Vertical position, the position of welding in which the axis for the weld is approximately vertical. Vertical position, pipe welding, the position of the pipe where the end welding is performed. In the horizontal position, the pipe should not be rotated during the welding. Wandering sequence, a longitudinal sequence in which the welding beam increments are deposited in random weave bed of type of the weld bead made with a transverse oscillation. Welding, a localized coal incident with the metal produced either with a heating at suitable temperature, with or without application pressure alone, with or without use of the filler metal. Weldability, the capacity of the metal to weld under the fabrication of the conditions imposed into specified suitability design structure and perform satisfactory intended services. Welded bead, a weld deposit resulting from a pass, a string bead, weave bead. Welder, one who performs manual semi-automatic welding operation. Welder certification writing that the welder has produced welding meetings prescribed standards. Welding performance qualification demonstrating the welder's ability to produce welding prescribed standards. Welding and melting joint process used for making welds. Welding machine equipment used to perform the welding operation. For example, the spot welding machine, arc welding machine, and seam welding machine, etc. Welding operative, one who operates the machine and automatic welding equipment. Welding procedure, detailed method of practicing, including all joints. Welding procedure involved in the production of the weldment. Joint welding procedure, joint welding sequence in order to making the weldment and is easily assembly of one of those two components are joined in by welding. And then we have your sample welding procedure specification sheet, welding specification procedure sheet, and the rest of your welding procedure specification sheet, welding sheets. These are the sheets for your qualification in the current Wabo.